Phil and Will are back for real this time. If you guys were just watching, if anybody was watching live, we don't know what happened to our other stream. It just cut out like 7 minutes in. So if you even see that on YouTube, see that anywhere, ignore that. That's not real. This is the one. Hopefully that doesn't happen again. We're going to be super paranoid that it's going to happen again. That was weird. We
That
had just
wasn't
mentioned.
that wasn't 7 minutes in. I don't think we were like 2 minutes in.
No, it was pretty. That video was like 7 minutes long. I don't know if it's just because it took you so long to delete it, but yeah, no, it was
Yeah,
like a
that's
7 minute
why.
video.
No, it was
Still.
because I couldn't get rid of it. I couldn't hit stop broadcast. Anyway, we are back, and let's just get right into these rankings.
We had so much self-promotion last time, and now it's all for nothing. So much self-promotion. But yeah, go ahead. You can start off with your number one if you want.
Well, you know my number one because we only got to the number one. So I have Keith again, fourth week in a row. Why would Keith go? He's on that stud tribe, Takeo or Takeo or whatever we call them, the Green Tribe. They got Joe on there who's not going to lose. And if they do lose, Keith isn't the target. We just haven't seen enough of him. He's such a well-liked character by so many fans. If he's going to go, we need to see more of him. So
yeah,
I got Keith number one.
I have Keith at number one too. Everything that you just said, there's no way he goes. We haven't gotten any good Keith moments. We really haven't. There was a lot of good Keith moments in season 29, and that's why he got brought back. He's not strategic. He's not good looking. He got brought back because he's funny and people think that he's entertaining TV. No way they completely ignore him. I mean, they even found a way to get like Tyson stuff in Heroes versus Villains, even when he was going to be an early boot. So I don't think Keith goes that early because they would have had to have shown something from him. My number two, I got Jeremy. I think he's in the best spot on Bayonne. I think if that tribe loses, it's going to come down to Spencer, Steven, or Monica, just because Monica is a little bit weaker. Maybe Kimmy, but they haven't shown any of Kimmy either, so I don't think she goes. Jeremy kind of seems like he has like a little bit of relationship with Spencer going. Seems like him and Steven got off on a little bit better terms last week, and he found the idol. Thinks Jeremy's in a really, really good position here, and he's also on the second strongest tribe.
Yeah, I have Jeremy pretty high as well. Number two, I have Kelly, who also found an idol. So, having an idol, it doesn't, guarantee you anything, but it's just something, it gives you so much more insurance. Because if you really, really think it's you, you just play it. And it will, even if it's not you, it's worth doing sometimes. So I think Kelly and Jeremy they're both going to be saved for at least another episode. I don't see either of them getting voted out with an idol in their pocket, though it could happen. So I have Kelly at number two.
Okay, yeah. I have Kelly a little bit lower just because I think, like we talked about a little bit in last week's episode, we were talking about how Kelly kind of put a weird target on her back by mentioning that Terry had an idol. Because then people are going to be like, well, let's not vote for Terry then because he has an idol. So she kind of put a little bit of a target on herself by trying to take the target away from herself. So I have her a little bit lower. But believe it or not, my number three.
Well, just to, let me just respond to you there. Yeah, it is a weird target, but I still have her at number two because she's on the Takeo tribe that probably won't lose. I mean, let's face it. It's gonna 99% chance it's Angor going to tribal this episode. Not only are they weak, they don't have a camp. They don't have any food. In the previews, we see Savage saying we're living in hell. Like, they are not doing well at all. So it's more than likely going to be them going to tribal. So, and if you think Terry has an idol, sure, maybe be a little bit wary voting for him. But it's also a great opportunity to blindside someone. Like, we see it all the time. Oh my gosh, we need to get rid of them if they have an idol. So, it'd have to be really well done, obviously, where everyone says, to Terry's face that, yeah, we're voting Kelly or we're doing this, and just pull off really great blindside. So that could happen too. And players want to do that. They're out here on an all-star season. They want to, really blindside somebody, even though Terry is a great dude.
Yeah, exactly. See, my whole thing with this week's episode is in the new preview that they just put out, I guess today, yesterday, I don't know when they put it out, but I just saw it. All they talk about is that little hero challenge, which I think is for reward, not for immunity. But it's a hero challenge where it's Jeremy versus Terry versus Savage. And I don't know how they decided Terry over Joe. I guess we'll figure that out tomorrow night or on Wednesday night, whatever night. But that's all they showed. So I really think that Angor is actually going to go to tribal because they didn't really show dynamics of any type of thing or get ready for the most shocking blindside. I feel like they're kind of setting up where it's like this is what happens beforehand, but the boot is going to come from the tribe that you've seen go to tribal so many times.
Yeah, I haven't seen this preview. I'm just curious. Like there is a reward challenge. Even though we have 3 tribes.
It's a reward challenge, and one person from each tribe runs it. In the preview, in the opening credits, where they show Savage and Terry and Jeremy all running through water, that is from this hero challenge, and each of them, they're the only person who does it from their tribe.
Wow. Yeah, it is interesting that Joe doesn't get the pick there to go for Takeo. Maybe there's some rule that says whoever you use for this challenge can't participate in the immunity challenge, but then why would you send Jeremy and Savage out there? So I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, I don't know either. But that was the thing. That's really all they've hyped up. So I really don't think that we're going to get – I don't think we're in for a shocker here. We might be in for like you're not expecting the person from Angor to go home, but I don't think we're in for like anything huge like Takeo loses or Bayan loses. Like I really don't think we're going to see that.
Yeah, the good thing about Angor though right now is that any of those 5 players can go. Just because Wu's on the bottom technically by how they voted, but they could easily turn it on Abby, turn it on Varner, or the 3 original Takeo turn it on Savage and Tasha. So like it really could be any one of them. So I think even if they go, it's predictable that they're going to go to tribal council. I have no idea which 5 of them will end up going home.
Exactly, and that's why I think that it's still really cool if Angor goes, because it's like, damn, I have no idea any of the 5 of them can go, and it'll be entertaining.
It's not like the no caller tribe last season going and then sending Nina home.
Yeah, exactly.
It really could, we have 5 all-star players, and any one of them could go.
Yeah, which I guess leads into why these power rankings probably aren't going to be that exciting. At number 3, I actually have Sierra. We finally heard from her last week, which was good because, Sierra is probably like one of the most popular like players, really, especially from the female side. Like she's like probably one of the most liked, and we didn't get to hear from her too much before this. Finally hear from her a little bit last week. She's on the strongest tribe. I'm hoping that we get to keep hearing from them, even though they are the strongest. I don't think they're going to lose. I just hope that we get to keep hearing from them throughout this season. And I don't think Sierra's going anywhere. I don't think we've gotten enough of a storyline from her coming into this.
Yeah, I actually have Sierra at number 3 also, just because, again, Takeo tribe. Like, look at Bayan for a sec, and like, okay, you have Monica and Kimmy, who they aren't terrible at challenges, but they're not good. And then Spencer's like, he's good at challengers, or he's won individual immunities, but like we saw, it is a blindfold challenge. At least we saw that in the preview. So, like you said on the last podcast, anything can really happen luck-wise. If Angor isn't going, it's more than likely going to be Bayan. I just don't see Takeo going at all. Especially if you look at all these characters, we've seen like nothing from Keith, like I've said, so little from Sierra. We've gotten a little bit of Cass. Joe's been obviously the shining star. And then, Terry had his moment, but I don't think they're going to go. So I have Sierra number 3.
If they go, I think the only 2 who could go would be Terry and Wentworth, because I just don't think we've seen enough. I mean, if you look at this tribe, it's kind of weird because that is the tribe that it probably has the most liked members on it. Between Sierra, Joe, Cass, Keith, those are just like huge fan favorites. And then, I mean, even Terry from back in the day, he's probably the most well remembered out of these old schoolers who actually got back on the season. I mean, you can make the argument for Wigglesworth, or Steven, but Steven's like even on the cusp. But like the only reason Wigglesworth is remembered because she lost season 1. Like people actually remember Terry from his season. So like if you look at that tribe, it's the most liked one. And unless Terry goes, you'd almost feel cheated on not getting enough from Cass, Sierra, Joe. I mean, we've got a lot from Joe, but not from Joe. It's been like Joe's
the only one I can really see, Joe or Terry. Like I said, I don't think Kelly goes just because she does have that idol. And I don't think Kelly's really on people's radar. But so it's I hate keeping this boring, but my top 3 are Takeo members or Takeo.
Well, my number 4 is Joe, just because like what we've said, and like do I think that Joe has a chance to go home? Yeah, he probably does. I'm actually going to use Joe as my my eliminator thing this week, because I think that his days are a little bit numbered, but I don't think that this tribe is going to lose. My thing is if, like everybody assumes, they're going to switch back to 2 tribes at some point because they've never made it from 3 tribes to a merge. If they switch back to 2 tribes, is that when Joe goes right before the merge because they obviously know the merge is coming? So I want to kind of use him for the eliminator thing early just in case he is the merge boot. But so I'm using him for that. But I don't know. With Joe, I just don't see how he goes. I don't see how that tribe is going to lose. I really don't.
Yeah, I think that's probably a good call, the eliminator pick. I wish I'm not going to copy you because that just would be no fun. I've used who? Kimmy, Monica, and Spencer?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to go Cass this week because I don't think I would love to see Cass stick around. I don't think she's going to be a huge down the line player. That'd be awesome. But I like this Takeo tribe so much, and I'm gonna throw her at number 4 on my power rankings while I'm at it.
Yeah, I have Cass. I was just gonna say I have Cass at number 5. I mean, we're really like loading up on the Takeo people, but like if they're gonna go, like why is it gonna be them? They're not gonna lose. They're really not. Like if one of these tribes is gonna get last place, I don't see what challenge this tribe lose at, even though it's a blindfold thing. And yeah, this is the one that they could lose at. I just don't see it happening. I really don't. So I'm going to load them up, and I have Terry way low because if they do lose, I think Terry's the boot. So I have Terry way low. I think Terry would get completely blindsided, and you get your little prop bet hashtag blindside right.
I would hope so. That'd be amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna go to Jeremy now. I have him at 5. I like Jeremy's chances. We've seen a lot of positive things from him. He does have the idol, but wouldn't it be kind of easy for Spencer and Steven to kind of rally to get Jeremy home? I know Steven is really dead set on keeping his original buy on 4 together, but if he and Spencer get to chatting and they know each other are strategists, like they know that, and they say, look, let's take a big threat, let's make a move. I know Spencer had that little conversation with Jeremy about his girlfriend and all that, but this is an all-star season. If they want to make a move, I could see Jeremy going out with an idol in his pocket.
See, but my thing is with that, Spencer, I feel like the only one Spencer connected with was Jeremy. So why would he try to go and get Jeremy out? I feel like I think that's his only in right now to that tribe.
Yeah, that's why I have him at number 5, just because it would be so unlikely. But I don't think I like the other 4 Takeo better. I guess that's it. That's the only reason.
Yeah. So my number 6, I have Kimmy. And yeah, she's the weakest one on that Bion tribe between her and Monica. But I mean, we haven't heard from Kimmy since episode 1. Not really too surprising. She's like not that memorable of a character. Probably was one of the last people voted back in. But she's got to get some sort of storyline. And all we've really done is see her like smile and looks like she's actually getting along with people. It doesn't seem like she's really rubbing people the wrong way like she did in Australia. Nobody's complained about Kimmy. Nobody's really said anything about Kimmy. And I feel like everybody's kind of forgetting that Kimmy's there. I feel like she's down to vote with whatever everybody wants, and that's going to help her get pretty far in this game. I mean, I'd like to know where Kimmy's head is at, but I don't feel like I have any idea where it is.
Yeah, I'm just going to go with my next two picks. I have Monica at 6 and Kimmy at 7. I kind of just putting them in the same boat. They're both players that we haven't seen a lot of. They're in the majority on their strong tribe. So it's just like, why, if they're going home now, why haven't we seen any of them? Especially for Monica. I mean, she did have that one confessional last episode, but I don't think they're gonna load up give us 7 or 8 confessionals and send her packing.
See, I think Monica could go this week. I think Monica's in a little bit of trouble if that tribe loses. I mean, at least we heard from Monica last week. I mean, we haven't heard from Kimmy. I think if that tribe loses, it's going to be Wigglesworth, Steven, or Spencer. But if they're going to get rid of between Monica and Kimmy, I think Monica's definitely more in trouble than Kimmy is. Why, I really don't know. I think that it would be Wigglesworth or Steven or Spencer, like one of those 3. They always seem like they're on the outside a little bit. But I do think Monica is in a little bit of danger, especially since we did hear from her last week. And it's like so random. Whenever you hear from Monica, it just feels so random. It's like, oh, yeah, there she is. Oh, yeah, she said something, especially after episode 2 where she literally wasn't even on the screen except for to smile one time.
Right. I mean, look at who's gone home and how much we've seen of them. Like PG, we saw she wasn't over the top or anything, but we saw a good amount of PG. And then her boot episode, it's not like they had to make up for it and overload and give her, 6 confessionals, 7 confessionals, because we do see that sometimes where it's like, oh, we haven't seen this character all season long, but we have to give them a storyline and an arc, so let's load them all up in their boot episode. And I don't think they're doing that this season. I know we're only 3 episodes in. Like Shireen was fairly visible in the first episode. And
Shireen was visible, yeah.
So I think Monica, I feel good about Monica this week, especially, the Angkor tribe is so down right now. It makes me I'm much more confident ranking these players higher.
Yeah. Sal Paradise actually put last video, he said, prediction, I think the Invisible Woman Monica will make an appearance in the next episode and then promptly be voted out. I mean, we have seen this so many times from Survivor, and it's almost like, yeah, here's Monica. Monica's here. Now, the way they're giving her just one confessional here and there, maybe she does make it late in the game and they're just trying to keep her relevant until her storyline really picks up. But she is definitely, if there's going to be one person on this season who's going to get the invisible and then blow up and then get voted out type treatment, it's going to be her, I feel like. I feel like she's the one who qualifies for that type of edit.
Yeah, I hear you. I think especially because, it is an all-star season. These players were all voted on by the fans. That's why I think it's so unlikely that Survivor will use that technique in editing this season. But if they are going to use it, it's going to be for Monica. Yeah. I just, if you not looking at edit, if you look at her position in the game, she's got Kimmy, Steven, and Jeremy supposedly. We saw that scene where they said, yeah, let's stick together. There's no reason to flip, all that stuff. She's on a strong tribe. And if somehow Spencer can get in and flip things, why is she a threat? So I'm not even looking.
Steven out almost at that point.
What's that?
It seems like they would vote Steven out if they were going to turn on one of their own, and then probably Wigglesworth if Spencer does work his way in.
Right. So not even looking at her week edit, it's from a gameplay standpoint, she's in a good spot. So, yeah, and then Kimmy, yeah. I got Kimmy next after her. Very similar in the majority. Why target Kimmy now? She seems to be fitting in nicely.
Yeah, it's really hard right now because we see so much. We've seen so much from this cast, and we've seen so many crazy things happen already. And then when you have to talk about these players you haven't seen much from, it's really hard to give reasons why. Why put Kimmy or Monica here? I don't know. We could easily put them near the bottom and just be like they might go home because there's just been so little from them.
And I think that is why we have them high, because we expect more, especially from a player like Kimmy, who is I know you probably have the number exactly. She, during her, 5 episodes in Australia, she was the most visible person, had the most confessionals out of anybody during that time span.
Yeah, she was more visible than Colby and Jerry, and she was in so much because the Kucha tribe kept losing. Or they didn't lose right off. They lost the first challenge, and then the other tribe lost, and then they kept losing for a little bit. And she was the narrator of that tribe, which was weird because you're looking at a tribe that had Varner and Alicia and Elizabeth and Scoopin, all people who, other than Elizabeth, that have played again. And Kimmy was the narrator there. So it's funny that now we're not seeing anything from her.
And that's why I feel comfortable putting it
around at least a little.
Right.
Okay, so then my number 7, I actually have Kelly Wentworth. She has the idol. She's not in that much trouble. I just thought it, we talked about last time, it was just a little weird that she would try to say Terry has the idol. It's almost well, then let's not vote for Terry, or let's do a split vote, but throw more, it's just a weird situation. Yeah, they might try to blindside Terry with the idol, but it also just puts the fear in you in a small 6-person tribe because they all probably saw what almost happened to Joe and Jen last year.
Yeah. No, I that could happen. I still really like her chances, and I mean, unless we're just being set up for this huge Kelly blindside, wouldn't that? I mean, that would be fun to see if she gets voted out with an idol in her pocket. And everything we've seen from her is positive. She's getting confessionals about how she's playing the game differently, which is the theme of the whole season, that you can't play the same way you did last time. So I feel like she's going to stick around for a while.
Yeah, and I hope she does. She's been entertaining so far.
Yeah.
So I hope she does stay around.
It would be a huge #blindside if she goes home.
Yeah, it really would. I have at 8, I have my first Angkor. And the one that I think is in the best position there, I have Tasha. She stirred up a lot of crap last week, but I still think that if they're all going to get back together, they're going to vote for Savage. And I think that out of the 5, Tasha's in the least amount of danger. And then kind of looking at where the TKO and the Bion people, if they are going to go, the people that I have behind Tasha, I think have a better chance to go from their tribes than Tasha does from Angor, even though I think Angor's still going to lose.
Yeah, Tasha's certainly in the best, not even best position, but she's great. She's great at the social game. People really like Tasha. I think they respect her. They want to work with her. Like you saw Abby come up to her, was very responsive when having that conversation with Tasha last episode, kind of spilling her guts out. And maybe that's just Abby, but I think there's something comforting about Tasha, and she doesn't come off as this huge threat. So I would say Savage is in more danger. I do have a hard time putting her in the top 10, though, just because she's pretty much going to tribal council. At least we think that way. So at number 8, I have Steven. And wait, am I at 8 or am I at 9?
That's 8. That's high for Steven. My God.
I don't see Steven not turning this kind of goofy edit around and having the redemption arc. I just don't see it. Like, if he gets voted out now, his return is total outcast of his tribe, goes to a tribe swap, wants the 4 to stay together. It's like his idea. Let's find the idol for each other. And then Jeremy finds it and keeps it for himself. And he thinks he trusts everybody and then gets blindsided. Like, is that really what Stephen Fishbach is bringing in his second chance? I didn't buy it from episode 1. I'm still not buying it. I think he's going to do something in this game. And if he thinks he's on the chopping block, he's going to make something happen. Also, he is in that 4. So if they are going to target someone, why wouldn't it be Kelly Wigglesworth? Why wouldn't it be Spencer? I mean, Spencer having that one conversation with Jeremy isn't going to completely change everything. Like, it's 4-2 still on that tribe. So unless we actually see real strategy talk about, making a new alliance or someone flipping, you got to think it's the 4 versus 2, and Steven's in that 4. And Angor's going to tribal. So
yeah, exactly. I mean, we are making the huge assumption here that Angor is going to tribal. So, like, it's almost like everything we're saying up to this point means nothing because we are just assuming Angor is going. If Angor doesn't go, good. I am completely okay with that because I'll be so shocked that Angor didn't go that it won't matter if it's a predictable boot from the tribe that goes, because it's just one of those things where I'm sitting here looking at it and I'm like, everything we've gotten has pointed to Angor losing. Even in the preview, yeah, they showed the hero thing, but before that, all they did was show Wu and Savage and Tasha complaining about how crappy the living situation was at Angor. Like, they are setting up Angor so much to lose again that it would be a real shock if they didn't, and it would be more of a blindside. That would be more of a blindside than whatever the vote is going to be if Angor actually didn't lose. At least that's how I feel going into this episode. I still think, Steven, you have him really high. I think that Steven is still in a lot of danger on that tribe. I think that, he might make the redemption arc, but it's almost like they've been setting him up so much now. Like, they haven't even brought in any little bit of redemption, really. Yeah, they showed him trying to be like, Jeremy, let's look for the idol together. Let's do this together. Next thing you know, Jeremy finds you. He's like, I'm keeping this for me. I'm not telling anybody. And it's like, Steven has no idea Jeremy just found that, and I feel like that's kind of how Steven's game is going right now. He's always thinking, but he's always been wrong, at least so far. He's been wrong about everything. And I feel like they might be setting him up for the doofy vote out, where he just gets outsmarted by Jeremy or Spencer or something like that, like what they did with Mariano with Rob Cesternino. I mean, Mariano just schooled him, and Cesternino thought he was in there fine, and Mariano just absolutely schooled him. So we'll see what ends up happening, but to put Steven in your top 10, I think that's crazy because if Bion loses, I really do think he's in the most danger.
I think Wigglesworth is in way more danger, or Spencer, for sure.
Well, I have Spencer at 9. Crazy, right? I have him at 9. I think that Spencer, unlike Steven, is getting the redemption arc. And I think that Spencer is going from, he was on the outside, he was screwed, can he make these connections? And when he was talking to Jeremy, the fact that Jeremy had the confessional right after that said, hey, I like the kid, he's a good kid, I feel like that kind of shows that Spencer has redeemed himself and he's worked his way in. I feel like that's kind of what we're getting from that. I have Spencer at 9. I think that Monica, I think that Wigglesworth, and I think that Steven are in more trouble on that tribe than Spencer is.
Yeah, I have Spencer. I'll just name my 9 and 10 right now. I have Joe at 9. Not much really else to say. We don't think that tribe's going to tribal council. And even if they do, Joe is this huge threat, but we're early in the game. Like, we got to remember, this was a cast that started with 20 players. It's only episode 4. So, I mean, some seasons have started with 16 people. Keep him around a little bit, win some challenges, make sure he doesn't go to tribal. So I don't think they're going to target Joe, but this is an all-star season where they're going to want to take out threats early. So it wouldn't shock me. I'm pretty surprised. What, you have him at 4? 3?
4, yeah.
Yeah?
4.
Yeah, so a little bit lower at 9. And I have Spencer at 10. I guess we can talk about Spencer. I don't think he's going to go, but when you so let's say, how do you feel about this 4-person alliance on Bion, the original 4 Bion that are still on that tribe? Do you think everyone is good with that?
Well, yeah, this is something that I guess we should talk about here. Is we always talk about like what we think is going to happen based on the edit and all that stuff. We really should talk about this Bion 4 and this Takeo 4. And I don't think this Bion 4 stays together. I mean, I don't know about the Takeo 4. I think we really should talk about both of them for further down the line, because that is like what predictions is. And since like so far it's just been a lot of, well, we haven't seen enough of this. We haven't seen enough of this. Maybe we should kind of talk about, are these alliances actually going to be able to hold through even for a while in the game? And this Bion one, I don't think stays together. I really don't.
And yeah, we can talk if they can make it, to the merge and stuff and stay intact. I'm talking about for just the first vote.
I don't think so.
Do you think they vote as a 4 block against Kelly or Spencer?
No, I really don't.
See, I think they will. I mean, there's no reason. Like, sure, they can. Someone can flip, but how does it help you? Why do that move? Having 4 on a tribe of 6 is such a good position, and it's not like you can flip out. It's not like it's a tribe of 7 and there's a 4 versus a 3, and all it takes is one person to flip. If you flip to Kelly and Spencer, you need to bring someone else with you. So it's not that easy. You got to get 2 people who want to leave 2 other people that they've been on the same tribe with since day 1, and they seem to be getting along just fine.
Yeah, I don't think that Steven and them are all getting along as fine as we all think, though. I really don't. And yeah, I don't really have a good answer as to why I don't think they're going to vote as a block, but I just don't think they're going to vote as a block the first time they go. They might not even go to tribal, so we might not even talk about this, but I just don't think that they're going to vote as a block the first time. Maybe they do when Wigglesworth goes, but for that second vote, I think Spencer works his way in and Steven goes, or Monica goes, or Kimmy goes, and I think Spencer and Jeremy might actually have something going together there.
I'm just trying to cook up like a possible – let's say Bion loses this week. And they may lose, the week after, so it's worth talking about now, even if we are sure that Angor is going. What is Jeremy? So you're thinking he wants to target Steven?
I think Jeremy wants to target Steven. I know Jeremy wants to keep threats around him, but I think that Jeremy's a little paranoid about Steven. I mean, Steven always has his head in the game, and I think that's kind of getting to Jeremy a little bit, because it's not like they went and immediately bonded. I really do think that Jeremy is worried about Steven as a strategic player. And yeah, you can keep the big physical threats around you. You can keep the Savages, the Joes, all that. You can keep them around you because they're known for their physical prowess. But with the strategic players, you never know when they're going to screw you over before you get the chance to screw them over. And you want to keep the strong strategic players far away from you. Like, you want to get them out of the game. So I don't think that Jeremy and Steven are really that close. And I wouldn't be surprised if Steven is the first person booted from this Bion tribe.
But isn't Spencer a really strategic player in the same regard, kind of that Steven is? Like, they're both pretty good at challenges, and they're both known as, huge super fans of the game who love the strategy. And I know we've gotten that one conversation. I don't know if that changes everything.
But they are pretty much the same. But I think the difference is Jeremy, so far, all he's seen from Spencer is the heart that Spencer showed, or whatever you want to call whatever Spencer talked about, whatever you want to call that. That's what Jeremy got to see. He had to spend 9 days on the beach with Steven and saw how Steven was for 9 days. He saw the progression of Steven. So, he knows more about Steven than he does about Spencer, and he might want to get rid of Steven because he looks at Steven as more of a strategic threat than Spencer right now, especially since Spencer's coming over. It doesn't seem like him and Wigglesworth get along that well. So he really doesn't have anybody to turn to, and I think that Jeremy almost might look at him as like a loyal like a loyal puppy that's just going to follow him, as opposed to Steven, who he's already seen kind of be an outcast. That's just what I'm getting from what I'm watching.
I'm saying, like, for anyone who watched Spencer's season to think that you can have him as a puppy, I think Jeremy's smarter than that, and I think he's aware of Spencer. But I'm not saying they don't work.
I mean, Steven was nuts too, though. They're two of the best strategic players ever, and that's why it's a really hard situation. It's just a matter of who does Jeremy and Monica and Kimmy think that they trust more. And I think that they trust Spencer more than Steven because they saw Steven ostracize himself when they were together on that big tribe.
So you pretty much think they're going to replace Steven with Spencer in their lives?
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking.
Okay. I just wanted to get straight about how that was all going to go down. Let's continue through the rankings, though. I'm glad we kind of settled out how it would happen. I still think, at least for one vote, they're going to stick together. And I think Steven is going to – I think Steven has a bigger role to play this season. It's just my gut feeling. I can't –
I hope so.
He's done so much for the show. He's a big fan favorite. For him to just get the dumb dud edit is so unlike it. And I guess it's me just being optimistic, but there's something in him that's going to come out. He's going to if his back really is against the wall. I mean, we have to remember he hasn't been a tribal yet. He hasn't had to scramble. We haven't got to even. There's no opportunity for him to kind of bounce back. So I think he'll be able to.
Well, we'll see. You had Spencer at 10. I have Monica at 10. Like I said, I think Steven and Wigglesworth are in the most trouble on that tribe. Although, if they do go for challenge strength, if they do go for challenge strength, watch out for Monica and Kimmy. And the reason I put Monica way lower than Kimmy, we only saw episode 1. Monica, we've seen like a little sporadic. Like we saw her episode 1, we saw a little bit episode 3. Maybe they are just keeping her in the viewer's mind so that they can get her off the show episode 4. Maybe that's what happens. So I have her here, although I think she's going to be safe this week. Number 11, little surprising here. I have Savage. And that is, like, for me to put Savage here, like, I was contemplating where to put him, and I wanted to put him lower, but my fear is that if TKO loses, I really think it's Terry, and if Bion loses, I really think Wigglesworth or Steven, it could be either of them. So I put Savage here because I think that Abby, Wu, and Varner are all going to be at each other's throats this week, and I think I think Savage and Tasha are going to be able to kind of work their way and kind of decide who they want to go home. Could it be Savage or Tasha? Easily. But I just think that they're going to I think that they're still going to be in control at least this week.
Yeah, it's tough for this Angor tribe. I'll follow up with my 11. It's the highest ranked Angor player I have is Tasha. She's had such a positive edit in her last week saying, I got dealt these cards. I have to play with them. I can't complain. Just a lot of positive things from her. So I think she'll be a big player down the road, and she is a good player in general. So I got her at 11. It could take her out, but Savage, I think that's way too high for Savage. All it takes is for Varner, Wu, and Abby to say, "Hey, wait a second. If we look at this game as a whole, there are, who's been eliminated so far? Vetus, Shireen, and PG, all original Takeo members. If they start continue to take out each other, Bion's going to run away with it. So I think Savage is in deep, deep trouble.
My problem with everything you just said, you're thinking as a level-headed Survivor player. You have to remember those three. You have two of the most unlevel-headed players in the game, and you have one person who's not a player. No, Abby and Varner are crazy.
Okay, Varner is not crazy. Okay, Varner is going to make he's going to do. He had one blow up.
Varner has a method to his madness, but he's playing a little too much. He's trying too much. He was our LVP this week. He got the most votes for LVP. He's doing too much, and he doesn't realize he was in a really, really good position. He's always playing. He's like overplaying. He's almost like Cochran in South Pacific, where he was so worried that he was going to go home that he's just overplaying. Abby's nuts, and then Wu doesn't really play. So I don't think that Wu's going to go with Abby and Varner because I think that he feels betrayed almost by everybody who's out there right now, and I don't even know what Wu's going to do. I think he might just walk up to Tasha and be like, please.
Wu is going to be betrayed by everybody, though, because he's the only one. So, yeah, I think Tasha and Savage talked to Wu and PG and said, let's vote Abby. Like, they betrayed Wu. So, yeah, did Abby betray Wu? No, Wu is voting for Abby. So, like, he can't be mad at Abby for voting out PG. That only makes sense. And then Varner, who knows what Varner was doing? We didn't really see Varner and Wu have a conversation. But if he's betrayed by anybody, it's going to be Savage and Tasha. And then, yeah, Jeff's crazy, and he had that one blow up, but he is a smart player. He knows what he's doing. I think if he just takes, I mean, look, we have to remember they're out there for 3 days before the next tribal council. All they're thinking about is the game, the game, the game, the game, the game. And if you look, wait a second, there are 10 Bion, there are 7 Takeo, I'm a Takeo. If this merge comes, I don't want to be screwed. Yeah. And then in PG's exit interview, Varner actually suggested throwing the challenge to get rid of Savage or Tasha.
Wow.
So PG said, no, I think it's too early. And we know how PG is a fan, or she
throwing challenges.
She implemented the best challenge throw of all time, probably. That didn't come back to bite her in the ass. It worked perfectly.
And it got her to 5th place in the game, because if she doesn't throw that challenge, she doesn't make it as far as she did. That was a perfectly thrown challenge. I mean, that's textbook right there. It's never worked that well again or before that. So that's probably why she didn't want to do it.
She's the master. No, and even she didn't want to throw a challenge, but Jeff was adamant, telling PG, hey, we need to get these Bion people out of here. So I think once the dust settles, and I know we had so much switching and flopping and conversations before Tribal Council, if they take a step back and just look at it, and Jeff can explain this to Abby, Wu will probably be like, look, I wanted to, I'm good. So I do fear for Savage a lot. So I'm surprised you have him that high.
Yeah, I'm taking a chance just based on Abby's craziness. See, my thing with this week is I think what's going to end up playing out at Angor is, hey, we could get together, like you just said, and we can get rid of Savage or Tasha. And I think what's going to hold them back is that Abby is going to be like, no, Wu, forget you. I hate you, Wu. I hate you, Wu. No, Wu. Like, I feel like Abby's going to be the reason something doesn't happen. And I really do think that it's going to be one of the original Takeo who go from Angor. I don't know why. I just feel like they're too dysfunctional, and they were never really aligned to begin with. And I think last week, even Abby and Varner weren't that well aligned. I know Varner probably saved Abby and got PG voted out, but I really do think that Abby and Varner aren't as tight as they were a couple weeks ago, or going into last week.
Yeah, I hear you. No, it wouldn't surprise me. I'm just saying it is very, very easy for them to get Savage out.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying. So if I had to put money on it, I'd probably say it's one of the original Takeo, just because there's 3 of them and there's only 2 of the original Bion, and one of them is Tasha, who probably won't go. So let's continue here. Yeah, I always forget what number I'm on. Tell me where.
We're on 12. We're both on 12. You just said Tasha. I did Savage. We're both on 12. So.
Okay. 12. Okay, now 12 is where I have Terry, just because.
That's what I have too. Yeah.
He's the last remaining person on the Takeo tribe that I haven't listed yet. If they go to tribal, which is really very rare or very unlikely, he will go home, I think.
Yeah, what I think it is with Terry here at number 12, I put him at 12 because if they lose, I think it's him, and I almost think he knows that. And I think it's weird to me that they do a hero challenge and it's Terry instead of Joe. There might be something else to that, but maybe Terry feels like, I know you guys are going to vote me out. Let me try to win this for you. If I win it for you, maybe you guys will realize you should keep me around. Let me do this. And I know he's that older, competitive guy, and I could totally see that being him and being the reason he does it, because he knows he is on the outs. Although last week he had no idea he was on the outs. So I have Terry this low. I think him doing the hero challenge might actually speak volumes about where his standing in the game is and how he knows that he's on the bottom.
Yeah, I think it'd be so easy to convince Terry that he's in the majority and that he's all good. You don't have to worry. All it takes is Cass saying, oh, man, you kidding me? We won't get rid of you. We need you for challenges. Yeah. I don't know if Joe can pull it off, but Sierra can easily say that. Wentworth and him will probably be voting for each other. And Cass and Sierra can be like, yeah, we're going to vote Kelly. She's no good in challenges. You're a beast. And he can be totally cool. And then he gets blindsided. So I think that'd be pretty easy. It's a matter of whether they lose ever with this tribe.
And all that said, I don't think they lose at all. So I think that Terry's actually fine. That's why I have him still at 12. and 3 people from Angor and 2 people from Bion behind him. And my 2 people from Bion I actually have as my next 2, so I'll just put them in that order. I have Wigglesworth at 13 and Steven at 14. Yeah, Wigglesworth is probably in more danger going into the episode, but I just don't feel like that foursome is going to stay together. They might get rid of Wigglesworth first, but I fear for Steven really bad. And I think if they lose, I still think Steven's going to be the number 1 target. Maybe, if not, it is going to be Wigglesworth. I don't think they get rid of Spencer. I think it's Wigglesworth, and it'd be a shame if she goes out at 17th place after not playing since season 1, but, it is what it is. It's not the end of the world. She's been all right so far. I mean, she's there. It's cool to see her back, but she hasn't been like anything great. So that's my 13 and 14, and then my last 3 are all Angor.
I have Kelly Wigglesworth at 13, and then my last 4 are Angor, just because I'm very worried about Savage, much more than you are. Yeah. But Kelly, don't we need more from Kelly before she goes? I mean, this is low.
We got a lot of Kelly in episode 1, and then we didn't really get much from her in these last 2 episodes.
Well, she kicked off episode 2 saying, it felt really bad to not be in the numbers, and then she gets in the numbers. But supposedly she's not
there for like the next hour and a half. We saw her right at the beginning of episode 2, and we haven't seen her since.
Yeah, and she did go to Tribal that second episode too. We didn't get much from her. Uh-huh. Supposedly she's not like the best to live with around camp. She's kind of a negative Nancy, always complaining about stuff, and isn't very social. So if they go, it's kind of like let's have some tribe unity and get the negativity out of camp. So I think she has a better chance of going than Steven if that tribe loses.
Yeah, but I mean, are you really surprised that she's not that much fun to live with? I mean, if you look at the season 1 cast, she was probably the nicest out of the Toggy 4. But is that really saying much when it's Hatch who's running around naked, Rudy who's just miserable about everything, and then Sue Hawk who just hates the world? Like, is it really much to be like the nice one out of that foursome? So, like, I'm not really surprised that Wigglesworth isn't that great to get along with, or isn't that easy to live with. I'm not surprised that she's kind of negative. It's probably why she ended up finishing second place in Borneo. I hope we see more of her though. Like, I really do. I hope she doesn't go this week. It's been cool to see her out there.
Yeah, that's the problem with it. It's kind of cool, but that's it. It's not. There's nothing. I don't think she's bringing anything. I wouldn't mind seeing her go at all. I know it's like season 1. Oh, whoa, look at me. But besides that, it's like she's kind of boring. I gotta say.
Yeah, and my whole thing is everybody kind of thought that was coming. Like when everybody was like, please don't put Kelly Wigglesworth back on this season because you're all just going to be so disappointed because it's not going to be the same exact Kelly Wigglesworth. Yeah, I mean, she's 15 years older. She's more boring TV because this isn't just about the adventure anymore. This is about strategy and all that fun stuff. I would rather see some movement happen on that tribe than Kelly go home. Kelly is not – I don't think Kelly makes the merge anymore. I don't think Kelly goes deep in this game. I think she's going to be right before the merge. Kelly's going to go home because I do think that this Bion tribe is going to lose eventually, or she's going to merge into another tribe and she's just not going to have the numbers because she doesn't know how to play socially. So Kelly's not long lived for this game. No way she's going all the way to second place again. And like you said, she's not that great at TV, so it's not that big of a deal. It's just kind of cool that she's still in there. It's like, oh, from season 1, and she's, it's kind of cool to see how far can she really go, considering the game has changed the most since she played.
Yeah, and they have been kind of sprinkling her in, so I think a late pre-merge boot is probably where she's going to go, somewhere there.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm down to 4 Angor now, and I think you're down to 3.
Yeah, I'm down to 3 Angor. You're down to 4. So do your next one, and then.
I actually haven't thought much about this. I just knew these 4 were going to be at the bottom. I think Varner can recover from this. I really do. If he senses that he's not maybe it's so tough. Any of these players could go. I'm like now second guessing myself because Varner probably should have gone last week, and that's what PG said in her exit interview. That when PG got up, Tasha was like, "It should have been Jeff, PG. It should have been Jeff, but you had to flip it on Abby. We were all ready to vote out Jeff." So I think we've just seen he's such a big character. I think he's going to last a little bit longer. So I got Jeff at what's that, 14?
14, yeah. I have Jeff at 15. I think that he's in the best position out of the original Takeo on that tribe. Although, I mean, if Jeff goes, I really wouldn't be that surprised because all they have to do is get Wu to do it. The reason I don't have Jeff at the bottom, and I guess I'll just finish mine out since you have 3 left and one of them is Savage. I'm just going to finish mine out with Varner at 15, Abby at 16, and Wu at 17. I think this is Abby's time to go. I think this really is when Abby goes home. The reason I don't have Abby in last is because Wu was on Cagayan. And all Varner said was, I want to get rid of people from Cagayan. And now is his chance to be able to get rid of somebody from Cagayan completely because Savage and Tasha are in a block. And if he can't get everybody to side up against Tasha, all he has to do is go over to Tasha and Savage and say, guys, I want to vote out Wu. And it's like I feel like Tasha and Savage voting with Varner and Abby last week kind of says something about how they trust him more. So that's what I'm thinking here. I think that Wu's in the most trouble. I'm hoping this is Abby's episode to go.
Yeah, the big thing with Wu is that Abby, put it perfectly after they voted. Wu's voted for Abby twice now. And he didn't vote with Tasha or Savage, so where does he fall into place?
And this is why I don't think that Wu and Abby are going to side back together. I think Abby just finds her little grudges and holds them. That's the reason PG went home. So,
yeah, I don't agree with the Varner Cagayan 4 thing. I know we said that pregame so much, but when they do go to tribal, it's going to be day 12. You're not thinking what you thought pregame. Everything's changed, and as I've said before, it's 7 Takeo remaining, 10 Bayon. So if they can stick together, that definitely is. It's the best for all of them. It's the smartest move to take out Savage. I have Savage at 16, mainly because, like you said, Wu's in so much trouble. Didn't I have? Let me work from the bottom up to my rankings. I got Abby at the bottom. This is mainly because, they could vote her out saying, look, this girl is too crazy. She's going to change her vote. You can't trust her to do anything. She's a wild woman. And I want to see Abby go. I've had enough Abby this season. It's getting to be too much. I'm hoping that the editors were like, look, she's this big player for 3 episodes and then goes home. So that's why we've seen so much of her. I don't know if I can take another, 3 episodes of just constant Abby. It's
kind of like in Blood vs. Water, where we got so much Colton and we got so much Brad Culpepper, and neither of them made it far in the game at all. But it was like, okay, Colton, he's a returning player. Like, let's give him his screen time. He gets a bunch of screen time, and then he's just gone. So,
yeah, Brad was fun while he was in there too. He was a funny character. It's like he was trying to make moves all the time, and he got caught. So I'm hoping that's the case with Abby. I really do. So I have her at 18. Wu at 17. Savage 16. Varner 15. Who am I missing?
No, you're not missing anybody. You have Abby at 17. There's only 17 people left. You have Abby at 17. Right. Wu at 16. Savage at 15.
That's right.
Yeah, and then Varner at 14. No, that's right. You're good.
There it is. The power rankings.
Yeah, I mean, we're just in agreement here that it's going to be one of the Takeo, the T team. It's going to be one of them. Angor. No, it's going to be one of the T team from Angor. It's going to be one of the green people from Yellow.
Savage would not shock me.
No, Savage wouldn't surprise me. I mean, me putting him at 11 was more or less. I think that there's 3 people on his tribe that I think will go before him, as opposed to Terry, who I think is clearly the first boot if that tribe loses, and then Steven and who else did I even put there? Steven and where is my power rank? Anyway, Steven and whoever I said. Oh, Wigglesworth. I think that they're going to be the 2 people who get booted from there. So I just wanted to kind of back myself up,
Yeah.
Yeah. You want to do some comments?
Let's do an update of the bootless game.
The
prop bet. I keep calling it bootless because of last season. It is the prop bet game, and we have some pretty good entries. Let me pull up the scores here. I'm going to read off, I guess, the top. I guess there's 15 people who have made it to the top. Okay. With the highest score. Wait, this doesn't look right for some reason.
Did Willie mess it up? Oh, no.
This might be. Oh no, this is the last last document here.
Okay. Bear with Willie. He's getting there.
I'm looking at it. I know there's someone who got 12, and I think
12.
it's 12 points, which is a lot.
It's a lot, yeah.
I'm not finding them. Oh man, I scored all these. It's looking like they. No, they saved. They saved.
While we wait, MVP was Tasha, LVP was Varner, and somebody had made a comment last week. Where is it? Maybe I can't find it. Oh, the Gamer Girl 2330. This season really likes you guys boot list wise. I mean, yeah, it really does. We've had this work out like pretty much the way we've wanted it to.
Yeah, and if Woo or Abby goes, then we're.
I mean, if the next three boots are some variation of Woo, Abby, and Kelly Wigglesworth, it's really not a bad way to start the season. And I'm not throwing Wigglesworth down there because we dislike her. Just in terms of TV, I mean, the people that you'd have left would just be pretty damn awesome season.
Yeah. No, it's going to be a great finish no matter what, just because we have so many big players. I do have the bet list scores, so we don't have someone to tell. We have Sarah Christine with 8 points. So she's in the lead, and then I'm going to work up. We have 2 people with 4 points. You're not going to believe this. I wasn't going to include the 4-point people on here, but I had to because one of them is Taylor Swift.
Taylor Swift? Like the real Taylor Swift?
I mean, her account name is Taylor Selena Swift, middle name and all. So it's likely her.
Swift's real middle name?
I assume.
Just make sure you hashtag Taylor Swift when we post this anywhere, and we should get viewers, right?
I didn't know she was such a big Survivor fan.
Yeah.
But she's barely on the leaderboard with 4 points, along with Andrew Ng, who has 4 points. And then we have several people with 5. Aaron Jakes, Paula LaFleur. Oh, no, Paula LaFleur is 6. Aaron Jakes, Cole Jordan. Cole Jordan's the one who suggested the buff prop bet. Alex Crooks, who isn't a subscriber.
Oh,
Magnus Forsey. And I haven't checked them all because it just takes a while. But after next episode, I'm going to do – this is because we said we're going to do 3 check-ins for the Bootless game to make sure you're a subscriber. So if you're not a subscriber and you've entered and you still want to, be eligible to win the buff, you have to be a subscriber for this check-in. Anyone who isn't subscribed by when I check after Wednesday's episode is going to be, out of the contest. So make sure that you turn your subscriptions to public too, so that we can see that you're a subscriber. If you have them set to private, we won't be able to tell, and then we'll have to throw out your boot list. Continuing on.
Still not a boot list, guys. Don't worry.
Oh, prop bet. Oh, and KK Cranberry has got 5 as well. And then we have Ultraspur, Dot Miss, Ryan Lyon, Noah Trader, and Paul LaFleur have 6. Brian Johnson's got 7, and then Sarah Christine is in the lead with 8.
Sarah Christine was in the bootless thing for a while last year, and so were Noah Trader and Brian Johnson. One of them won a buff, I think, out of Brian Johnson.
Noah Trader did.
Noah Trader did, that's right. So, yeah, I mean, that's cool. I mean, everybody, maybe some people, they know.
Spoilers.
I don't know, though, because Sarah Christine and Brian Johnson didn't actually finish in it last year, so maybe not. I mean, maybe they're just good at predicting. It's kind of like how I beat you at all of our little fantasy games. Like, maybe people are just better at guessing than other people.
I don't know. Remember our very first fantasy game, and I said, what tribe is the winner going to be from? And I said blue collar, and you said no collar. I was right.
Yeah, you were. That was our very first fantasy game because I think I took no collar first, actually. Yeah, so I only left you with the 2. You did say, though, that you wanted to take no collar because that was when we did our little winner thing. Anyway, so let's see. Joe Uke, the picture of all the second chancers at the Worlds Apart finale is slaying at the bootless game. Pretty much. It's pretty funny if you look at that thing. Like, Sierra, I'd be scared because you're sitting there as, like, the second boot. And, like, it really is weird that, like, all those people, like, who were just for some reason in the back are, like, losing.
Oh, yeah. It's, like, moving forward, right?
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, like, Vitas was actually already in the seat. Like, he didn't even have to move. John Smith says, funny how Wu was the only one who was never targeted on Angor, and then he ends up being in the worst position. I mean, that's kind of what we were saying last week, where it's like his name never came up, and as soon as that tribal ended, he did like the typical Wu face and was like, I'm screwed. I'm done. So let's do this week, because this week's will be a little bit more fun to read. There wasn't really that many left from last week. Oh, my God. All right, so –
yeah, we've gotten quite a few. So
yeah. Total Drama Survivor fan. Do you guys watch Total Drama? It parodies Survivor. It's awesome. I've never heard of it, to be honest.
What's it called? Total Drama?
Total Drama.
I used to watch the Trash Talk TV Survivor in 2 minutes, and that was really funny. And I mean, I think the guy who did it, he did like the whole season of Cagayan, and he did some of Worlds Apart, but he stopped doing it, which is disappointing. Those were really, really funny. Have you seen those, Phil?
No, I haven't.
I'd go watch, just search Trash Talk TV Survivor, and I think it's for Cagayan mainly.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up. I never even heard of that. Do you have the comments in front of you, Will, or no?
No.
Okay.
You go.
Anyway. Okay, Alejandro Bermuerto, I'm going to make a bold prediction and say Kimmy goes next. That is a very bold prediction. I'd be kind of surprised just because that would mean Bayan would lose.
Exactly.
But yeah,
like Kimmy's got more to tell. I really think. And she seems to be fitting in well. Like, she's smiling when other people smile. I mean, we like we've been saying, we haven't seen that much of her. But from what we've seen, she seems to be doing pretty well.
Yeah, I mean, she really does. I would really be surprised if Kimmy goes, because it seems like she's getting along with everyone out there. Giovanni Oriano, quote of the episode, Terry Dites has a social game. Kind of funny because he might be voted out if TKO loses. Should Kelly try to get Keith and Sierra to vote out Cass? Do you think Kelly and Keith like have any type of bond, or no?
Man. Maybe a little bit. I think they had a nice kind of welcoming, like, hey, how's it going? I know you, Keith. If Kelly needs to pull Keith in for something, I mean, it wouldn't be. I think just having that connection from being in the same season helps a little bit. I don't think it hurts. I don't think anyone's looking at that and saying, oh my gosh, two San Juan del Sur people in the same tribe. We got to watch out for that Keith Kelly partnership. No one's thinking that, so I think it can really only help Kelly.
Yeah, the only reason I'm asking is because when Giovanni said, should Kelly try to get Keith and Sierra to vote out Cass, I mean, I guess he's kind of assuming that Keith and Kelly still have some sort of bond from the last season. Yeah, I don't think it would hurt either of them. Because it's funny because San Juan del Sur is doing really well on this season right now. Like, they're all in really good positions. They're all in. I mean, I could have easily put Kelly Wentworth in my top 5, and we would have had all 3 people from San Juan del Sur in our top 5. Because you did get the 2 best players, or 2 of the probably 3 or 4 best players from San Juan del Sur, and then you got Keith, who actually didn't play bad. So, yeah.
And San Juan del Sur was such a, we both didn't really like it that much. I haven't rewatched it yet. I hear it's better on a rewatch, but it wasn't an amazing season. So it's good to see these players getting their second chance on, that they did have some players.
Yeah.
And that they can do well.
Yeah. Let's see here. So I guess John Robert. This one has nothing to do with
John Robert.
John Robert. I think he asked last week a question that didn't have to do with the season, and this one doesn't have to do with the season either. He wants to know. He wants to know what we think of Philip from Redemption Island and Caramoan, and Will from last year.
Philip was entertaining for a while on Redemption Island, and then he just kept sticking around. And it's like, oh my God, get him off the show. And that was such a bad season, Redemption Island. All I wanted was Philip to get voted off, and it never happened. So it just made that season way worse.
See, my whole thing with Philip is I actually didn't mind him. I actually didn't mind him in Caramoan. I thought he was fine. The only thing I didn't like him in Redemption Island was when he was yelling at Steve that Steve was a racist. I did not like that at all. What I wanted from Redemption Island was Boston Rob to go home, because that was the most boring season of all time. That's the worst thing Survivor's ever done. I will always say that's the worst season. It's like a million times worse than One World. It's the worst thing that's ever like maybe graced the TV. That was terrible.
No.
But no, Philip caused a lot of drama. By the time he got to the
much
end,
worse.
By the time Philip got to the end, it was fine. Caramo and Philip actually really entertained me because he really tried to play the game. Will from last season, he was just kind of there. He didn't make an impression on me. I have no idea what Will was even there for.
But Philip, I didn't mind Philip that much in Redemption Island. It's just that he made it to the final 3. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, he had no business. I mean, he finished second place. He actually got a vote. He stopped Boston Rob from winning unanimously.
Like, that was unbelievable. And then to have him back on Fanzer's favorites was just like, he's not a favorite. I don't want to see this guy play again. I really don't. He takes up so much airtime. And seeing him voted out with the whole Malcolm double idol thing, that was great. That was the best moment of that season.
Yeah, stupid move from Malcolm, but probably definitely the best moment of the season. All right, let's move on to Harold Rice. If anyone gets Cass and Abby in the final 3, they are both brilliant and amazing people. Those two are hard to work with. I don't think Cass has been hard to work with yet, though. And I don't really think she was all that hard to work with in Carry On. I just think that she changed at the right times to get herself the furthest in the game. I think she just made moves that she thought were big moves. Abby is incredibly hard to work with. I don't know how Varner could do it even for just 2 episodes. He's losing control already.
It should have been Tasha or Savage going home, and it wasn't. I don't understand. This comment says, if anyone gets Cass and Abby in the final 3, they are both brilliant, amazing people. Those two are hard to work. So I guess when he says they, he's referring to anyone.
To whoever gets them.
Yeah, your pronouns have to agree in number.
Oh, wow.
To either both. I'm just saying.
Wow, we got grammar teacher Will here.
So if it's anyone, that's singular. They is then plural. Anyway, Cass is having a great season. So, I mean.
Yeah, and make sure that anybody wants to go back and correct Willie's grammar for the entire episode, please let me know how many times he's messed up. Oh, my God.
I mean,
anyway.
Grammar is more for the written form.
You know what he means. You know what he meant.
No, because he uses they after it says Cass and Abby. So it's like it could be referring because it says they are both amazing and brilliant people, and then he says, but they're hard to work with. So that's why it did confuse me. I would have said if I understood what it said the first time I read it. I don't really care about grammar, grammar is there to prevent people from getting confused. So,
oh my Lord, Giovanni Oriana. With all this talk of pregame alliances, if you two were on Survivor, would you have a pregame alliance or would you try to vote the other out? I would try. I mean, I really wouldn't want to do a pregame alliance. I mean, obviously,
he's talking about if we both went on the same season.
Yeah, if it was like a blood versus water type deal, and somehow me and Will both ended up on the show, obviously, I would go in at least being like, Will, let's try to at least make the merge together, and then after that, it would be like every man for himself. But it'd be cool that we could both make the jury and make sure we helped each other get there. But then after that, it'd be like, screw you, I don't care.
Yeah. What if there's a blood versus water podcast edition? It's just like. All duo podcast teams.
There's got to be enough at this point.
That would be so. Yeah, of course.
There has to be.
That would be such a boring season. It'd just be
it would just be everybody talking about things that should happen. They'd be like analyzing every little detail. We'd get no good confessionals.
I would totally work with you. I would treat it like a blood versus water thing. Like I'm not going to write your name down until I really, really have to. But
yeah, you would make sure. I mean, obviously, we get to the point where it's like. We're not dating. We're not brothers. We're not like father and son. Yeah, so it's like one of us is going to win, and they're not going to give the money to the other one.
What's thicker, blood or wires? Blood versus wires.
Blood versus wires.
So that's how we're connected over.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would definitely say work with you, and then at least make the merge. And I feel
I wouldn't plan to get you out probably unless like I was like, man, Phil's really cramping my style here. I'd use you guys and not use you, but like we could go to the end, man. I'd want to go final 2.
Which would be really funny.
And then I'd be like, he has red hair. He doesn't deserve $1 million.
Yeah, exactly. And then I would just pull up videos of you correcting people's grammar, and I'd be like, how many times has he messed up on saying things this season? So that would be me.
Saying something as you think it is different when you're writing out a comment that you can edit.
Oh
Very
man,
different.
Harold Rice,
Very different.
man, Harold Rice. I am sorry. Oh my lord, this is why everybody likes me more than you. This is why I. This is why everybody's happy. Phil is in front of Will. You know, that's why it's Phil and Will. Giovanni Oriano had another one with Vita, Shireen, and PG at pre-Jerry Ponderosa. Isn't that awkward for them? All of them are either directly or indirectly out because of Jeff and maybe Abby. I think Vitas left.
Yeah, Vitas just went home. He's like, I'm not hanging out here.
Which I don't blame him. I mean, if you're only out there for 3 days and then you have to give up 36 days of like your life,
and he has a kid.
Him. He has a kid. I mean, he seems like he has like a pretty successful yoga thing going on. I don't really know what he does, but like, I don't blame him for being like, yeah, I'm getting out of here.
Yeah, it's weird that Survivor actually let that happen though, because you could tell. I mean, someone ran into him at like the grocery store, and it's like, wait, shouldn't you be on Survivor? And it's like, you know, got booted. But I don't know why it'd be awkward. I mean, Shireen and PG seem like to be pretty good friends, so I think they get along nicely. So I don't think it's awkward there.
Yeah, I really don't know. I don't think that they would. I think that they got along fine, PG and Shireen. I mean, you know, they weren't really the ones who were at each other's throats. It was all Abby. Like, it really was. So I refreshed the page and like lost comments. I don't know if they were deleted or what happened.
I just had that too. We have Juanita Straz.
Yeah, she's yelling at me that I'm pronouncing Takeo wrong or whatever.
It's Takeo.
To be able to pronounce that last name. There's no Juanita. It is. There's no way that.
Good, correct him, Juanita.
Yeah, there's no way.
When you make a mistake, you should be corrected. And I think anyone.
Oh my God, she's taking it from the Willie page, but I think she had like 2 other comments and then they got deleted.
Oh no, I think because she said my first live comment, yes, and it's just correcting you on how to say Takeo.
Yeah, because then there was another one that said something about Wigglesworth going deep because nobody would want to target them. But then when I refreshed the page to find more, there was nothing except Joe Proust, man. He wants to be on our podcast really bad.
Well, maybe at some point, maybe if we can figure out a system where we can get people to call in, and then it's like a radio show. That could work.
That would be cool. Yeah, I mean, maybe not for a whole episode, but just for like a little bit here and there. I mean, that would be kind of cool. Put some faces to some of our fans. I want to know what Steel Punch looks like. Like, that's what I'm curious about. I want Steel Punch.
I mean, having a phone. I'm saying it wouldn't have to be. There wouldn't be a face. It's just a phone call.
Oh, would it just okay? Yeah, I mean, either way, I have no idea.
Except I don't know. You can just, if you have a comment or question, just I guess write it on. Just type it out in the comment section like we've been doing, right?
Yeah. I mean, we're not that cool. We're really not. So it's not like we're that much fun to talk to. But yeah, I mean, that's it because we lost some of the comments. I don't know where they went. But yeah, so all of the little fantasy games. I mean, the overall fantasy thing, it was LVP was Varner because he just messed himself up. MVP was Tasha because she did really good.
Really well.
Yeah, exactly. Here we go. Yeah, I don't speak right. So, yeah, I mean, I'm looking forward to episode 4.
How's the fantasy, like the fantasy team one doing?
I think you're actually ahead of me by 1 because of the MVP, and then I had the LVP. Yeah, you have 25, I have 24. Phantom has 13, and the only person who's lost anybody is Phantom, so he's not even a real person. But wow. Phantom's the only one who's lost people, and I have Wu and Varner, and then the Phantom has Abby Maria. So hopefully Abby Maria goes home. Seems like you're in pretty good shape, at least for now.
At least for my people to survive. How's Jeff Probst doing? Did he rock any blue or
he wore dark
blue?
He wore dark blue, light blue, and then like a teal type color. So I'm saying they were all blue.
Yeah, no. For anything not to count blue, it pretty much has to be black or beige, maroon.
Yeah.
Or
I mean, his first one, I was like, oh crap, that's like black, and then I was looking at him like, no, that's just dark blue. You know, it's not purple, it's dark blue. So no, you didn't get any points from Probst this week. So yeah. You know, it might work out for you if one of my guys goes home next, but right now,
right. So I'm winning in fantasy draft. You're winning in the bet list. Eliminator, we're tied. Power rankings, we're tied.
No, power
And
rankings
then-
on winning boot lists were tied. Power rankings, I'm up 6 on you.
Really?
Boot list, yeah.
I
boot
thought I
list.
gained a lot from you on PG.
You did. You gained 2. You didn't gain a lot. You gained 2. You lost by 5 on Vetus. You lost by 3 on Shireen, and then you gained 2 on me from PG. So you're down 6.
Bummer.
It's the boot list we're tied on. Yeah.
I mean, Savage is going to go.
And then you'll make up points on me. Or Steven goes and it's over early, just like it was last year.
Yeah, maybe. I doubt Steven goes.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to try one more time to load these comments because I keep getting emails that comments are coming in, but they're just not showing up. So maybe we can, get these comments on the next video. But yeah, they're not showing up. That's
I don't know
it.
what happened. Okay.
I will. I'm also covering The Leftovers, The Affair, and The Walking Dead at untitledtv.com, and I'll put the links in the description. If you guys like those other shows, I'm going to write reviews for them. The Leftovers is really good.
Yeah, Willie's review of the first Leftovers was good. It got to my
Thank
stamp
you.
of approval. All of
Thank
the
you.
grammar was correct. He put Harold Rice to shame.
It's got to be correct. Okay.
Man.
Thank you for listening. We will see you Wednesday night. Can't be more excited. It's the best time is
Oh
doing
yeah, and just
Survivor
keep
season.
assuming it's going to be the late one. It doesn't look like we're going to be able to do the earlier one. So sorry, East Coast, but it's probably going to be late like all the time. Sorry. Hopefully earlier than last week though. Last week was kind of random that it was so late, but it should be earlier than that, but still probably after the West Coast thing.
Gotcha. Alrighty. Thanks for listening.